All right, welcome back. I'm sensing a little bit of a shift in sentiment here, right? Recently, we've heard Bill Maher, you know who he is. He came out and he owned the fact that he was wrong. And he, like a lot of others, thought that Trump and these tariffs were going to destroy our economy. The guy that actually loves the country more than anybody else was going to destroy his own economy. I don't get it. Anyway, well, one big oops there, right? Kenneth Langone, he was one of the founders of Home Depot with Bernie Marcus. He was initially not a fan of Trump at all. And Langone is a New York guy, too, and he'd voiced his negative opinions about Donald. Well, now he's seen the light and was recently quoted as saying that he's now a fan of Trump and his policies, so much so that he believes that Trump may go down as one of the most consequential presidents ever. Wow, what a turnaround there, right? We just had the EU trade deal announced on the heels of a few others like Japan, and we had a budget surplus last month of $27 billion and look to have $300 billion in the coffers at the end of the year from tariffs. Another $190 billion so far from the Doge savings. And you can start to see how things begin to add up in a positive way. Now, we've moved from what if these tariffs sink America to what if these tariffs actually work? Is there a little bit of bluster in the release of some of these deals? Sure. Is there a little more sizzle in the deals than actual stake? Yeah, maybe. But what's undeniable is the fact that there are some positive things, some common sense things that are beginning to finally take hold and actually help the country and improve our economy. Whatever he's doing, it's working. My next guest, she'll have something to say about it, I'm sure. Please welcome to the show, Ms. Rebecca Walser, Walser Wealth Management. She's coming to us from North Carolina, but she's normally in Tampa, Florida. Thanks for being on the show. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but the winds are a-changing.
They are changing, Scott. It's interesting that we've had kind of a muted stock market reaction to both the Japanese trade deal and the EU trade deal announced, on Sunday. Because when Trump paused the tariffs, Scott, you remember that the market went straight up like, oh, the tariffs are paused, So I love these Bill Maher, these key, they say, oh, this is the death of America, how can Trump come in and do this? It's going to cause other countries are going to stop sending us, they're going to stop being good, import partners. And yet when you start to really go back into the history of it and you start to see that initially us being the reserve standard from the 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement, post World War II, post how much we became such an integral global player in World War I, producing military equipment, World War II, the first atomic bomb obviously established us as the global superpower. And so it made sense. Hey, let's use the US dollar. It was tied to gold. That made total sense. And everyone was on board. But what ended up happening was this creep, this really slow creep, Scott, since 1944, where other countries started adding tariffs to their exports, our imports, and we did not counter. Then they started saying, hey, you know what, United Nations, we need you at United States to step up to pay 60-something% of the United Nations take. Oh, NATO, we need you to be 75% or more of the funding of NATO. And it went on and on and on. And administration after administration, I don't have to tell you, use U.S. aid to do all kinds of nefarious things for foreign direct investment that would recycle, sending money to Ukraine somehow gets back into these coffers. I'm just going to say it. There is a lot of corruption. Doge was just the very tip of the spear of the iceberg that we cannot see underneath. It's such a shame how horribly petulant Americans acted about that don't want to see cuts. We need cuts times 100 times that. And so it's just great to have an administration that understands that 1 + 1 = 2 and that you can't finance 2 if you're only collecting 1 into perpetuity. And this administration came in and said, it is time for some fairness. We're not even anywhere near fairness right now, Scott. Not even anywhere near fairness. And finally, we have, there's an expectation from economists this will be about a $2 trillion global impact, these tariffs, and it's going to be a net positive. And then he's also negotiating foreign direct investment from Japan, from the EU, from all these players. So this finally is an administration that is saying, stop taking advantage of us, world. It is not going to happen on my watch.
You're exactly right. And I don't know when this mission creep started. I mean, obviously in 1944, but this idea that American exceptionalism was bad and we need to apologize for it. We've gone from American exceptionalism to American apologists. And we need to go back to being exceptional again because the world is a better place when we are exceptional. And it's not a bad thing to be proud of that and want to make that a better place. And so I like the fact that we're going back to the way it used to be in the 60s. At least it was better than it was today, but it's not quite as good as it could be. But I like the idea of what he's doing, absolutely, because when I see people that get mad about these tariffs, and I say to them, okay, so you want to go back to the way it was because it's too much tumult to you, right? It's too much volatility. I say, so you want to go back to the fact that basically, I know I'm rounding here a little bit, but Japan can sell all the cars they want in the U.S. and we can't sell any there. You want that? You want to go back to the Chinese stealing 500 billion to maybe $1 trillion worth of intellectual property rights every single year. You want to go back to that. You want to go back to all the things that we can't sell into Europe, but they can sell into the U.S. It's just patently not fair. And look, the bottom line is if the guy was trying to be punitive, then that's a different story. He's just trying to be fair, and that's okay, and I think people sign up for that.
I think that, one of the benchmarks of time and transitions of time, Scott, if you wanted to look back at where did it really start to go really wrong and the United States started getting really the shaft, it's probably China joining the World Trade Organization in 2001 and getting that most favored nation status. I mean, literally from some calculations, their GDP is higher than ours, and they're still getting treated as a poor third world country as most favored nation status. Trump has talked about this multiple times. The American people have to wake up. If you lose your position of authority by dereliction, which is what we have done for the last 5 decades, you deserve to lose your position of authority, period.
We give it away like we gave away rights over COVID. I mean, people have to slow the roll. I mean, why are we the ones that are supposed to bring back our carbon, why and let China and India do whatever they want to do? I mean, why do we have to pay the penalty for letting them run wild? It doesn't make sense. So you have to pull out of that Paris Climate Accord and all the other things that really hamper the developed nation that's trying to do the right thing, and while we let these undeveloped places do whatever they want.
It's the most nefarious thing. It's the East basically putting the West into these 15-minute city electrical grids with no car, no transportation. That's all you get. You've got to get a pass to leave your zone while they can pollute the earth ad nauseum and no one does anything because, most favored nation status, that's just India, that's just China. Most populous nations on earth, together over 50% of the population of the world, but that's okay. You guys do whatever, burn whatever, however, and the rest of the world will put into electronic 15-minute grid cities that have no transportation, no ability to increase their carbon footprint, and they'll just have to, get a pass if they want to take a train. A plane, that's not even allowable anymore unless it's a business trip, and it's only twice a year, and you have to get credits, you have to actually get credit. I mean, come on.
It's insane.
Let's call it.
It's insane. I agree with you. And, this whole idea, I mean, that even no matter what I remember there was a Bill Murray movie, but no matter what we do here, as long as you let India and China pollute as much as they want, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Just like that. I think that was Meatballs that Bill Murray was. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on. Have a great trip. You're awesome to have on. Lots of people love you here. Rebecca Walser with Walser Wealth Management.